You tell AI to stop using bullet points, write it in full sentences. It does. 15 messages later, there they are again. Most people read that as the model losing track or getting sloppy the way anyone gets sloppy late in a long afternoon. That isn't what happened. Your instruction is still sitting in that conversation word for word, exactly where you typed it, and the model read straight past it. It didn't forget, it stopped looking. The gap between those two explains most of what these tools get accused of. Your app takes the whole conversation, every message you wrote, and every reply it gave, all the way back to the first line, packages that up, and sends the entire thing. The model reads it top to bottom, writes the next reply, and throws all of it away. Counted on a short conversation, first turn your app sends one message. Second turn it sends three, what you wrote, what came back, and the new thing you just typed. Third turn 5, the same conversation sent from the top again a little longer on each pass. Nothing survives in between, not your name, not the reply it finished writing 4 seconds ago. So it forgot is the wrong word twice over. Nothing was ever stored. So there was nothing to lose. And your instruction about bullet points is right there in the block of text, resent every single turn. Some of you are thinking this is wrong because these things clearly do remember your name between conversations. They do, and it works the way you'd now expect. When something looks worth keeping, the app writes it into a file, and later conversation get that file pasted back in at the top along with everything else. Anthropic's version is documented as a memories directory that the developer has to supply the storage for, which is a filing cabinet standing next to the model, not a memory inside it. That somebody had to build one at all is the strongest evidence for everything I just said. If the instruction never left, why is it being ignored? The answer is in how these models read, and this part is worth going slowly on. Take a sentence: the cat sat on the mat because it was warm. What is it? The mat, obviously. Nothing inside the word it tells you that. So, to work it out, you had to hold the whole sentence in your head at once and weigh that one small word against every other word in the line. That weighing is called attention, and it's the thing that makes these models work at all. For every word the model writes, it decides how much each earlier word matters to this one, which is how it reaches back and finds Matt. The amount of attention is fixed, and that's the part people miss. For every word it generates, the model has one budget of consideration to hand out, divided across everything sitting in front of it. On turn 1, your instruction competes with maybe a dozen words. By turn 40, it competes with 4,000. It hasn't moved, it hasn't changed, there's just less and less of anything falling on it. Three things push it further into the dark, and none of them is the model deciding anything. The distance between your instruction and the word being written keeps growing, and the text in between piles up to compete for the same fixed budget. On top of that, the mechanism that tells the model where each word sits in the sequence get weaker with distance by design. I should be honest about the picture I have handed you. It isn't one beam of light, it's many running in parallel at every layer. And paying attention is really a weighted sum rather than a spotlight. The shape is right, the picture is simpler than the thing. Earlier this year, a paper called When Attention Closes put a number on exactly this. The researchers measured how much of the model's attention was still reaching the original instruction turn after turn and named it the goal accessibility ratio. It falls in every architecture they tested without exception. Fastest inside the first 10 turns, ended between 27 and 48% below where it started. They also found where it bottoms out. Put a fixed limit on how far back the model can look. And the attention still reaching your instruction hits its floor somewhere between turn 19 and turn 23, depending on which model you're talking to. That number is remarkably predictable, which is the tell that this is geometry rather than mood. Then they went further, they forced that channel shut on purpose and asked the model to recall 20 facts it had been given, and recall collapsed from nearly perfect to 11%. At the same moment, they read the model's internal state directly, and the facts were still in there, recoverable with around 99% reliability. Said with that one, the model still held the information, it just couldn't get to it. You might be picturing this as something that only happens deep into a marathon conversation. It isn't. Meta ran a benchmark across 4,500 conversations and 14 different models, and between the first turn and the third, Instruction following accuracy dropped from 88% to 71. Every model they tested got worse with each additional turn. Three turns, one question, one answer, one follow up. A separate group simulated 200,000 conversations and measured an average drop of 39% the moment a conversation went past a single turn, showing up and exchanging as short as two. That same group split the damage into two parts, and the split is the reason this feels so random when it happens to you. A small piece of it is the model getting less capable, the large piece is the model getting less reliable. It isn't quietly turning stupid as you talk to it, it's turning inconsistent. So the same request lands one time and slides straight off the next. And before anyone blames the length, a study across 18 frontier models found quality falling well before the available space is anywhere near full. Everything so far has been about turns piling up. The same thing happens inside a single long message, and there's a well known experiment that shows it cleanly. Take a question and one document that answers it. Bury that document in a stack of 20 where the other 19 are irrelevant. Hand the whole stack over and ask, then run it again, with the answer moved to a different place in the stack. Answer at the top of the pile, and the model got it right about 76% of the time. Answer at the bottom, 63. Answer in the middle, and it fell to around 54. Now, the part that should stop you, when the same researchers asked that model the same questions with no documents at all, just from what it already knew, it scored 56. Burying the answer in the middle of the stack left it doing worse than handing it nothing. That is the same shape as before. The beginning gets read and the end gets read, and the long stretch in between is where things quietly go missing. In a long conversation, that stretch is exactly where your instruction about bullet points has been sitting for the last 15 messages. The useful thing about a mechanical explanation is that the fix falls out of it. If the problem is distance and competition, move your instruction back to where the attention is. Say it again in your most recent message rather than your first. That sounds too simple to be real. The same 200,000 conversations were used to test exactly that, restating everything important before the model answers, and one model went from 50% to 67. Starting fresh works for the same reason, and it isn't superstition, it resets the distance and clears out the competition in one move. There's a second cause, and it's the one most people assume is the only one. Conversations do eventually outgrow the space available. When that happens, the older messages get summarized and summary is sent in place of the real thing. Major providers ship this as a built-in feature is the reason your conversation doesn't stop dead at message 40. A summary is lossy, that's what a summary is. I wanted to know how lossy, so I planted 12 specific facts inside a long document and had it summarized in stages. Checking after each one, 56% survived the first pass. 25 survived being combined into a single summary. Three quarters of the detail gone with nothing malfunctioning anywhere along the way. A short rule about formatting is exactly the kind of small thing that doesn't survive being made shorter. So the honest version comes in two parts. Your whole conversation is resent every single turn. So your instruction never actually leaves, but the attention reaching it thins out as the conversation grows until the model is reading past something still sitting right there. Go long enough and it gets compressed into a summary, and then most of it genuinely does disappear. Everything here was measured on benchmarks, not on the tool you actually use. So tell me that part, how many turns before your AI starts ignoring something you told it? And which tool was it? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe.